Chris, and this is News Recap. No fluff, straight to the point. Dallas ICE shooter identified. The attack may have been planned for weeks. Tourist killed in Manhattan hit-and-run. Families of victims in the DC plane helicopter crash are suing the government and airlines. 2 Pennsylvania teens face charges after deadly TikTok challenge. We now know the gunman who opened fire at an ICE facility in Dallas was 29-year-old Joshua Jahn. Investigators say Jahn set up on a rooftop near the field office and fired into a sallyport where detainees were being loaded into a van. One detainee was killed, 2 others critically injured. No ICE officers were hurt. Jahn turned the gun on himself as agents closed in. He had no known history of violent crime. Court records show a past felony conviction for marijuana delivery in Texas, which earned him probation. New evidence indicates Jahn may have planned the attack for weeks in an effort to create real terror, according to FBI Director Kash Patel. Investigators found documents listing Department of Homeland Security locations, searches on ballistics, and apps that tracked ICE agents' locations. FBI agents searched a home tied to his family in Fairview, Texas. Neighbors say the family seemed kind and very sweet, making the news of the shooting especially shocking. For now, authorities are still trying to determine what pushed him to carry out the attack. A deadly hit-and-run in Midtown Manhattan left 1 tourist dead and her husband hospitalized on Wednesday afternoon. The crash happened just before 2:40 p.m. at East 40th Street and 5th Avenue. Police says a vehicle with a vanity plate reading Times Square struck a visiting couple from Hamburg. 1 person was rushed to Bellevue Hospital and is in stable condition. The 50-year-old woman was pronounced dead at the scene. Eyewitnesses described a chaotic scene, saying the vehicle sped away after hitting the couple. Nearby vendors said the man managed to get out from under the van while the woman was trapped. A witness said it happened the driver didn't realize they hit anyone. No arrests have been made so far. Authorities are working to notify the family of the deceased. The Tylenol controversy continues as the Trump administration warned pregnant women against the popular painkiller over unproven claims it could cause autism. The dispute reignited when administration highlighted a 2017 Tylenol-owned tweet advising expectant mothers to avoid the drug. Kenvue, Tylenol's parent company, says the post is being taken out of context and points to decades of research and court rulings rejecting claims that the drug causes autism. Medical experts emphasize that acetaminophen remains the safest pain reliever for pregnant women when used properly. Researchers who suggested a link to autism have repeatedly lost in court. Former President Barack Obama also criticized President Trump for falsely linking Tylenol use during pregnancy to autism. Speaking to a 14,000-person crowd at London's O2 Arena, Obama called Trump's claims violence against the truth and said they undermine public health, creating unnecessary anxiety for parents. He criticized political complacency in the U.S., warning that populist and nationalist trends fueled by Trump and leaders like Vladimir Putin threaten democracy and equality. Obama said Trump's rhetoric and misinformation encourage division, erode trust in institutions, and contribute to creeping authoritarian tendencies. Earlier this year, on January 29th, an American Eagle jet and a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter collided mid-air near Reagan National Airport, killing all 67 people aboard. The family of 1 victim has filed a lawsuit against the government and airlines involved. The widow of Connecticut resident Casey Crafton alleges the FAA, the Army, American Airlines, and PSA Airlines ignored more than 30 near misses in the area before the crash of Flight 5342. Other families are expected to join the suit, which claims the agencies utterly failed in their responsibilities to the traveling public.
They ran blatantly for years, many red lights here, by allowing these planes to operate in the navigable space at DCA, knowing that there was massive congestion that there was a massive intersection between military traffic regarding runways that were unique and required special training that they failed to provide to their pilots.
Passengers included young athletes from the Skating Club of Boston, hunters, union members, and families from several states. Investigators have flagged safety concerns, but the final report won't be ready until next year. Families say they're turning grief into action, pressing Congress and regulators for reforms to prevent future accidents. The White House warns federal workers could be fired if Congress doesn't pass a spending bill before October 1st. A memo from the Office of Management and Budget tells agencies to prepare reduction in force plans. Normally, employees are just furloughed during a shutdown, but this could mean actual job cuts. Congress remains deadlocked. The Republican-led House passed a short-term funding bill, but the Senate rejected it. Democratic leaders called the memo a political threat. Chuck Schumer said firings could be overturned in court, while Hakeem Jeffries called it intimidation. Experts warn cutting federal workers would hurt government operations and remove experienced staff. President Trump canceled a planned meeting with congressional Democrats as a shutdown looms. A federal judge says President Trump and other administration officials may have broken the law with public comments about Luigi Mangione, charged in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Judge Margaret Garnett ordered the Justice Department to respond to a letter from Mangione's lawyers, who claim the statements violated his right to a fair trial. They say Trump and White House officials falsely linked Mangione to other political violence and left-wing extremist groups. Trump called Mangione's actions a sickness, and the White House shared the comments on social media. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt and Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller also made statements portraying Mangione as a left-wing assassin. Mangione has pleaded not guilty. His attorneys argue the public comments are prejudicial, especially as federal prosecutors seek the death penalty. The judge ordered the government to provide a sworn declaration explaining how the alleged violations occurred. Starbucks announced on Thursday it will cut 900 non-retail jobs and close some underperforming stores as part of a major company shakeup. CEO Brian Niccol said the moves are part of the Back to Starbucks strategy aimed at improving the brand. Even with closures, Starbucks expects to end the year with more than 18,000 locations. The restructuring is expected to cost about $1 billion. Starbucks is rebranding locations as coffee houses to focus on the experience, making stores more social. Sales have fallen for 6 straight quarters, and the stock is down more than 7% this year. Earlier moves like a dress code and return to office mandate sparked strikes among baristas and corporate workers. Niccol says Starbucks is building a better, stronger, and more resilient company. But employees and investors are watching to see if the changes actually pay off. Amazon will pay $2.5 billion to settle an FTC case over its Prime membership practices, including making it hard for customers to cancel. The settlement includes $1.5 billion in refunds to affected customers. About 35 million people could get roughly $51 each. Amazon also faces a $1 billion civil penalty, the largest in FTC history. The FTC said Amazon used deceptive methods to sign people up for Prime from 2019 to 2025 and made it very difficult to cancel. Internal documents showed executives discussed the issue. As part of the deal, Amazon must make it easier to decline Prime offer and cancel memberships, making the process clear and simple. Amazon did not admit wrongdoing, saying it has always followed the law. The FTC called the settlement a win for consumers, returning billions to Americans. Oklahoma Superintendent Ryan Walters is stepping down to lead the conservative group Teacher Freedom Alliance. He says his goal is to fight teachers' unions, which he claims are corrupting schools. Walters stirred controversy as superintendent by pushing Bible lessons in public schools and requiring families to prove U.S. citizenship to enroll their children. He partnered with Turning Point USA to set up chapters in high schools, drawing criticism from state leaders. State Attorney General Gentner Drummond, a Republican, called him an embarrassment for our state. Last summer, a sheriff's office investigated an incident at a state board of education meeting after board members reported seeing images of naked women on television in Walters' office. Walters called the reports desperate lies, and no charges were filed. Walters, sworn in as a superintendent in 2023, has not commented on when he will officially leave or his next steps. In response to the stabbing death of Ukrainian refugee Iryna Zarutska on Charlotte's light rail, North Carolina lawmakers approved a criminal justice package Tuesday called Iryna's Law. The bill limits bail and seeks to ensure more defendants undergo mental health evaluations. The Republican-backed measure passed the House 81-31 after Senate approval on Monday and now goes to Democratic Governor Josh Stein for review. Supporters say it ends catch and release for violent offenders and could restart executions in the state, which haven't happened since 2006. Critics, including Democrats and defense attorneys, say the bill does little to prevent crime or improve mental health services. It limits judges' discretion on pretrial release and adds rules for involuntary mental health evaluations. The bill also directs the state to find another execution method if lethal ejection isn't available, which opponents call barbaric. The measure comes after the August stabbing of Zarutska by DeCarlos Brown Jr., who has schizophrenia, which sparked public outrage and renewed debate over bail, pretrial reform, and the death penalty in North Carolina. 2 Pennsylvania teens are facing charges after a 17-year-old was killed and a 20-year-old suffered permanent head injuries while attempting dangerous TikTok challenges with their cars. Northampton County District Attorney Stephen Barada said the cases involve reckless stunts in parking lots. In June, 17-year-old David Nagy died after riding atop a folding table tied to a car. The driver, also 17, is charged with involuntary manslaughter. In March, a 20-year-old friend was thrown from a car trunk while surfing. The 19-year-old driver faces charges of aggravated assault by vehicle, careless driving, and allowing persons to hang on a vehicle. Barada said neither teen planned to hurt anyone, but their actions were grossly negligent and reckless. Both drivers are first-time offenders, and prosecutors hope the charges can eventually be removed from the record after supervision. A brazen daylight robbery in San Ramon has left police investigating a gang who stole around $1 million worth of jewelry. Surveillance footage shows up to 30 masked thieves storming a jewelry store on Monday. Dressed in black and carrying crowbars and pickaxes, they smashed display cases and grabbed whatever they could. When the store's security door automatically locked behind them, they shot their way out. Authorities say the robbery was likely planned days in advance. The suspects arrived in 6 separate vehicles, parking just 100 feet from the store. Police recovered some of the stolen jewelry that the thieves dropped. Several getaway vehicles were reported stolen. So far, 7 people, including 1 juvenile, have been arrested in raids in Auckland and nearby Dublin. The suspects, all from Auckland and ranging from 17 to 31 years old, are believed to be part of a gang involved in similar Bay Area thefts. Alabama is set to execute Geoffrey West on Thursday night for a 1997 gas station murder using nitrogen gas, a method still new to the United States. 50-year-old West was convicted of killing 33-year-old Margaret Berry during a robbery at an Etowah County. Prosecutors say she was shot to eliminate witnesses. West's girlfriend testified against him for a reduced sentence. West has admitted the killing and says he regrets it. He wrote letters apologizing to Berry's family. One of Berry's sons, Will, has forgiven West and asked Governor Kay Ivey to commute the sentence, saying vengeance, quote, isn't for the state, it's for the Lord. Ivy responded that Alabama law requires the death penalty for the most serious murders. West will be executed by nitrogen gas, which deprives the body of oxygen. He chose this method in 2018 after Alabama authorized it. The state carried out its first nitrogen execution in 2024. Lethal injection remains Alabama's main method. The U.S. Coast Guard has seized more than 5 tons of illegal drugs in the Caribbean, including nearly 9,000 pounds of cocaine, worth an estimate of $64.5 million. The Coast Guard says the crew of the cutter Diligence made 2 major drug busts in August and September. On August 7th, they stopped a vessel southwest of Jamaica and seized 1,500 pounds of marijuana, which was later offloaded in Florida. Then, on September 6th, the team intercepted another fast-moving boat north of Panama, taking more than 8,700 pounds of cocaine. Commander Colin McKee praised the crew, saying the seizures stopped over 4 tons of drugs from reaching the U.S. Authorities warned that these shipments fund criminal groups and are increasing Caribbean patrols to intercept them. And that is all for now. The top stories of the day, no fluff and straight to the point. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop a comment. I'm Kat Pokras, and I'll see you next time.